Hey everyone, it's Elton here. I do apologize by the fact that I'm sitting in my camper van once again creating a video. I would have liked to have been outside or somewhere else and give you a different background to look at. Unfortunately, since I've got to Hartford about a week and a half ago now, it has literally chucked it down with rain every single day. I think there was a couple of hours on Monday when I was able to get out and go and do a short exploration of Hartford town centre. So I'm hoping that I'm going to get at least 1 or 2 clear days while I'm here. I'm here till the 20th of January. But I thought rather than not post anything and get into this mindset again where everything's got to be perfect before I can post something, I thought I'm just gonna subject you to looking at my mug with the old black and orange curtains behind me once again. So yeah, this video is just an update really, just to let you know what you can expect from me in 2023. So as some of you may know from my previous video, I have decided not to take employment in 2023. Well, I say not employment, I mean I won't be working on a campsite or anything like that where I've got to be in a specific area for several months at a time. Do have a look at the other video that explains why that's not something I want to do. So instead, what I'm going to be doing is focusing on promoting and marketing the services that I provide. So I think I've said this in a previous video, but I do apologize that you are going to see a little bit more or hear a little bit more about the things that I do, the services that I provide that generates an income, because yes, van life doesn't cost as much as living in a home. However, it does have its expenses. And recently I did the maths over the Christmas period just to figure out exactly how much it is I need to earn, and basically it works out to working on a 5-day week, I need to earn £55 a day to pay for all my bills, my accommodation. As some of you will know, I tend to I'm sticking to campsites at the moment in England, for various reasons, including the fact that I tow a motorcycle, the fact that I have an elderly dog who, because he can't go for longer walks, has to then go for several shorter walks throughout the day. So it's difficult to be stealth with him and things like that. So at the moment I am sticking to campsites. So the vast majority of my monthly requirement as far as income goes is probably about 50% of that is my pitch fees. So with that in mind, what I actually decided to do was house and pet sitting. I joined a website about 3 weeks ago, thinking if I could pick up 1 or 2 sits during the year, that at least is something. It saves me a bit of money from the campsite fees, plus I get to spend time with animals, which I love animals. I've always had animals in my life, and because of my dog Shaka being so elderly, he can't really he can't join me when I go out and explore and take hikes to nature reserves and things like that. So by house sitting or pet sitting, I get access to other animals who are a bit fitter, who can come with me when I go for my long walks and things with the camera. And it just gives me an opportunity to visit areas that I wouldn't necessarily visit if I was relying on campsites. When you're relying on campsites, obviously you can only go where the campsites are. Remarkably, since joining the website 3 weeks ago, I've already agreed to, I think it's about 11 or 12 sits, which has pretty much filled up my year. Some of them are a week or 2 weeks long, some of them are a month long. But I think out of the 12 months in the year, I've got about maybe 3 months available that I haven't agreed a sit for. So that will go a long way, obviously, in reducing my costs for pitch fees and things like that. I did think initially, because I'm in a motorhome that's with the motorcycle trailer and the bike on the back is 7.5 meters long, I did think that I wouldn't have much success, to be honest. But as I say, I've been remarkably surprised that people seem to be very interested in what I'm doing, my photography project, and the fact that I am traveling around the UK and stuff. So maybe that is a bit of a selling point. Maybe I don't know, but I don't care, to be honest. People seem to like what they see and hear because I've had video chats with everybody that I've agreed to sit with. So yeah, that's going really well, surprisingly. I'm not charging for house sitting this year in 2023, primarily because I want to build up some reviews around it, and also I want to make sure that actually it is something that's feasible for me to do. Most of the sits that I've agreed to, the dogs or the pets have their own space in an evening. So some of them get locked in the kitchen, some of them have their own room, some of them get locked in the bathroom or something like that. In those instances, the owner's happy for me to sleep in the van overnight with Shaka. But Shaka he's quite happy to stay overnight because he is an older dog. So besides his breakfast and stuff in the morning and his 4 or 5 walks during the course of a day, the rest of the time he's just napping, and he's quite content to do that. So the few sets the way I've agreed that they would prefer me to be in the house, it's not going to be an issue because, as I say, Shaka is quite content to be out in the van on his own overnight, as long as I'm there first thing in the morning to take him out and spend time with him during the day, which obviously I'm intending to do. It should all go well. So yeah, that's the house setting is not going to stop me from exploring and creating content and things, and in fact having access to high-speed Wi-Fi and things in the people's homes will allow me to be more productive, and obviously I'll be working with delivering my other services and things that I'm going to be providing. So from that aspect, don't think that I'm stopping my travels. It's not the case at all. And in 2024, should I make it through 2023 and I decide that house sitting and pet sitting is something I want to continue doing, I'll likely start charging just a small fee, but also then start to look, because a lot of house sitters do sits abroad. Yes, you've got to pay for your flights and everything to get there, but once you're there, typically you have access to, you've got free accommodation, and in a lot of instances abroad, the homeowners leave you their car to use. I think the insurances aren't as funny as they are here in the UK. So yeah, that's something that I'll see how that all goes over the year and what I continue to do next year. I have decided, as far as traveling abroad goes, I'm going to put that off until Shaka's time comes. I just feel he's too old. I mean, I say he's too old. He's 13, which apparently for a Staffordshire Terrier is old. But he's riddled with arthritis. He really can't walk very far. I mean, I take him maybe 200-300 meter walk, and it's like walking in slow motion by the time we're coming back. He really suffering. Doesn't seem to be in pain, but his mobility is definitely decreased these days. So I just think taking him abroad, one, is going to be quite stressful on him with the whole ferry crossing and that kind of stuff. And then also, if something happens while we're abroad, I would just prefer to be able to take him to his own vet who did all the surgeries on him and stuff like that and know him fairly well. So yeah, there's not likely to be any international travel from me, sadly, for a year or two, or as long as Shaka is with me. So Although I have got a good friend of mine who rehomed, who took in my African grey parrot, and she has said that, you know, should Shaka get to the point where this lifestyle is just not suited to him anymore, that she would take him on. But I just don't know if that's something I want to do, or in fact how Shaka would deal with that, because you know, I've had him since a puppy, and it's been just him and I primarily, you know, all that for the last 13 years. So I'm not sure how he would cope with being left somewhere else. Yes, I can go and see him, you know, when I'm going past her area, but yeah, it's just not something I want to think about right now anyway. So you know, cross that bridge when I get to it, as it were. So that's the one thing, the house sitting. So if you know anyone who's looking for a house sitter around the UK, you know, get in touch, let them know about me. You can see all this information on my website anyway, and there's a link down in the description for that. So yeah, if you know anyone looking for a house sitter / pet sitter anywhere in the UK, let me know. Obviously, as I say, the requirements are that I need to be able to park my motorhome off-road, so they need a driveway that's at least 7.5 meters long, so that when I first arrive with the motorcycle trailer, etc., there's enough space for me to unload it. And that, you know, like I say, I do travel with Shaka, but he's always in the van. He doesn't go into the homes, he doesn't interact with their pets and stuff like that. So yeah, bear me in mind for that. And then the other ways that I'm going to try, you know, earn that £55 a day target that I've got to earn just to survive, you know. So that £55 a day includes, as I said, pitch fees, fuel, food, insurances, what else was there, you know, so all my bills essentially, which I don't have too many. I've got insurance for the van, insurance for the bike, breakdown service, that kind of stuff. So yeah, so the other ways I'm going to try to earn that £55 a day is by offering my website design service. So I build primarily in Wix, because out of all the major CMS players around at the moment, Wix is actually the forerunner as far as SEO goes, surprisingly. 5 years ago that was not the case by a long margin, and to this day, unfortunately, there's still a lot of website designers who will say that Wix is shite, and that's simply not true anymore. And if they did their homework, they would know that. So again, if you know anyone looking for a website, maybe they've already got an existing website they want to update and refresh for 2023, or maybe they're on WordPress or some other platform and they want an easier platform to manage their website themselves without being tied to a retainer, bear me in mind, folks. You know, please do let people know that if you do hear anyone looking for a website designer, bear me in mind and send them my way, please. Other than that, I'm also obviously offering my photography services. So my main goal for 2023 is to find and reach out to outdoor brands, tourism brands and hospitality brands, people who are kind of aligned and will find benefit in a traveling photographer. So I'm thinking, you know, outdoor brands like, you know, people who manufacture hiking gear or tents. You know, the thought process there is that I could take like a hiking tent and pitch it in various beautiful scenic areas like the Peak District and Brecon and Wales, etc., and provide the client with, you know, an ongoing images of their product in various settings rather than simply just in one location. So again, if you know anybody in those industries, so outdoor camping, hiking, hospitality, so Airbnbs, you know, campsites, etc., again, bear me in mind and please, you know, make them aware of me and what I'm doing. The other services then that I supply is social media management, and again, my niche there, you know, the people I can confidently and best write content for social media for are those kinds of brands, the outdoor brands, the tourism brands, and the hospitality brands. So again, if you're one of those yourself, or you know a business owner that is in those industries and is looking for a social media manager, please make them aware of me. You can check out my website below, and it shows all the services that I provide. Really, £55 a month, £55 a day shouldn't be a problem. It shouldn't be a challenge. But as we stand, it is now the 11th of January, and I've made zero income. So that's got to change in a hurry. So in a previous, what I've also decided for this year is that not at every video, but on the videos that it makes sense to, I'm going to put up here somewhere at the top, almost like a, if you've ever watched the series Two Broke Girls, where they, at the end of each show, they put the balance, their bank balance of what they have in the bank. I can't remember, they put it in the front also, but I'm going to be doing that. So I'm going to stick the number up there, my current bank balance. I really don't know where this is going to appear. It's up here. Yes, it's a negative number. And the reason it's a negative number is that I have savings put aside for worst case scenario. So, should Star, my motorhome, decide she's had enough of life and completely dies to the point where it's not financially feasible or clever to invest in her anymore, that I would then have money set aside to purchase a new van if I needed to. So this negative number is a consequence of going into that savings. So my first goal is to go into positive, obviously, and as you can see, it's a significant amount. I'm in the red right now. So that's my goal, really, is just to get that number into the positives, and then be able to breathe a bit, because whilst I still have a bit of savings there, if the worst happens now, I'm going to be short, because what I have left is not going to be enough to buy me another van. So I need to get that back up into the green as soon as possible. So there are other ideas and things that I'm thinking of, to bring in some income, some passive income streams and that kind of stuff. As always, if there's any photography of mine that you see, do follow me on Instagram, etc., where I post more of my photography stuff. If you ever see any images that you like, I do sell prints. I'm going to set up a store on my website where I'll be selling some limited edition prints and things like that. Just looking for as many income streams as possible, just to get that £55 a day. Worst case scenario, depending on where I am in the country, I'm going to register with Deliveroo, and use my motorcycle to deliver. A couple of friends of mine do Deliveroo, and they earn more than £55 a day, let's put it that way. So worst case scenario, that's always an option for me. But as I say, Deliveroo isn't everywhere, and a lot of the sits that about half of the sits that I've agreed to are quite remote. So Deliveroo will definitely not be in those areas. But where Deliveroo is available, I will obviously go and do it. But like this, for example, the last week and a half here in Hartford, the weather's just been completely crap. The winds are 40 to 50 mile an hour, really belting it down with rain. So I would not want to be out on my bike delivering anything in that kind of weather, to be honest with you. So Deliveroo is fine as an option, but I'm very much a fair weather rider, to be honest. I don't like to get wet. The whole thing about riding a bike for me is to enjoy the scenery and enjoy the ride, and being pissed on by rain is not enjoyable for me. So yeah, I think that kind of gives you an idea of what's ahead for me in 2023. As I say, I'm still going to be posting, and I am making a point of going to be posting more. And what I've decided is, on these rainy days like I've had for the last week and a half, that I'm going to be producing and creating photography related content. So I kind of spoke about the photography series a while back, and I've not posted anything on that yet. And I've had a few people comment about when am I going to start posting photography related content. So I'm going to start doing that soon. I'll probably start off with just going through the kit that I currently use, my camera bodies, my lenses, that kind of stuff, what you need typically to be a photographer, other accessories and things that I use and that kind of stuff, and then we'll get into the kind of hints and tips and tutorials around photography itself. I also do one-to-one training, photography training. That's another thing I forgot to mention, and again you will see it on my website, is that I offer training, so photography training, one-to-one sessions via Zoom call, where we go through the kind of fundamentals of photography. I then understand what it is that you want to achieve in your photography journey, and then we kind of focus in on that. So what do you need to know if you want to be a pet photographer or a landscape photographer or a newborn photographer, and we kind of dive into those camera settings and the best camera and the best lenses that you would need for those situations. I also do business training, so Canva and Trello and these and social media training, so how to best use Instagram and LinkedIn and all these kinds of things. So yeah, it's going to be an interesting year, a year where I'm backing myself to get to the point where I can get that figure into the green and I can earn that £55 a day. And obviously the ideal is to earn double that a day, so that I have actually got spending money, so that I can go out and do things. And it's a lot of the places I want to see have got a cover charge, and you've got to pay to go in there. One of the things I'm toying with, and I think it's gonna come later when I've got more people supporting this road trip and my efforts and what I'm doing with the photography project, is to have sponsored not events, but sponsored things that I do. So as some of you may know, I cannot deal with heights at all. I can't even get up on my motorhome's roof. To be fair, that's more a fear of falling through the bloody thing than the height of it. But yeah, I'm terrible with heights. So one of the thoughts that came to mind was that if someone was stupid enough to donate or sponsor me X amount of money, I will do some crazy shit. And when I say crazy shit, I'm go up the Alpha Tower. That's crazy for me. It's insane. Or go on a zip wire, which again, insanity for me. Most people love it, and when I watch other people do it, I think, oh, it looks awesome. And I have done a zip wire once. It was at the National Diving Centre somewhere on the border of Wales. And despite being petrified when I was being harnessed onto the line, when I got to the end, I was quite keen to do it again, because I thought my GoPro hadn't been switched on, but actually it had been. But until I've realized that it had been switched on, I was quite reared up to go again. So yeah, these are all ideas running around in the head at the moment. If you've got any suggestions on how, if you're a van lifer yourself or you've been on the road for a while, how is it that you make money? One thing I will to say to anyone who's thinking about becoming a van lifer or being on the road long term is either have a job already, or if you're a business owner, have the clients that are there already to give you a regular income, because trying to establish a business when you're already on the road it's hard work. It's a hell of a challenge. So yeah, I mean, if all else fails and at the end of 2023 I am not in the green and I'm not earning sufficiently, the £55 a day or whatever it is I need to earn, then I will consider going back to my career. It's not something I want to do ideally, and 2023 is going to be make or break, but I will if I decide to go back to my career, I'm going to apply for remote working jobs again so that I can still continue to travel, because I really don't want to be terminating my project at this point, because as some of you will know from a previous video, 2022 was disappointing from a travel perspective because I really didn't get to do a lot. So 2023, I'm backing myself, I'm going to travel more, and I'm going to bring you far more content. Right, I think that has bored you sufficiently to sleep, so I'm going to leave it there. So I hope that's given you some idea of what this year is going to bring for me, what it's going to bring for you as far as content goes. I hope you do stick around and join me for the journey, but if you feel that my path in 2023 isn't really what you signed up for, sad to see you go, but I do understand. Alright folks, see you on the road, and keep well, be happy and be safe. Cheers.